Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, and of course, head coach Steve Jennings. Coach, before we get into any of the hockey stuff, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a great time with family and friends. How was your holiday?
It was good. We snuck back to Boston for a few days. Had a whirlwind trip, saw a bunch of family, so it was good. And got back here Christmas Eve and celebrated Christmas as a family for the first time in our own house in like 25, 30 years. It's been a long time, so it was nice.
Very cool. I'd love to hear that. And of course, all you Wings fans, hopefully you had a fantastic holiday as well. Let's see, let's jump back a couple weeks ago, 8 days now, something like that. In St. Cloud, Friday night, a shootout win. Dominic Wasik came up with some huge saves, and I just kind of knew we could just see the confidence in him throughout the game. That when it came to the shootout, I knew he was going to be strong. Then Saturday ends up being a little lopsided 4-0 loss to St. Cloud there on the final game before heading into the break. Coach, I know that's been a while ago, but looking back, what were your thoughts on that trip to St. Cloud?
It's a while ago, but still feels like yesterday. So.
Yeah.
Friday night, we're pretty happy with what went on, right? It's, traveling out there, playing our game. Dominic was really good, but we had a lot of good things firing for us there. Saturday, we were just okay, I thought, and then we had a turnover that led to the first goal, and then it was like a balloon popped. Mm-hmm. And we have to be better than that, honestly. I mean, I thought Dom played a strong game again on Saturday. He kept us in the game. The boys did a good job in front of him, blocking a lot of shots. It's probably our season high of shots that we blocked there, so there was some good that came out of it, but frankly, not enough good and not enough for us to end that right before Christmas there. And I think the kids knew. We get in the locker room, and there was, I think they knew for sure that we'd missed an opportunity there, and we're getting to the point where we need to stop missing these.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously we're in the middle of the break. Locker room's empty. Guys are home spending time with family and friends. I wanted to talk a little bit about how the break looks for you guys as a coaching staff and for the players when they head out to family and friends, or in some cases maybe have to stay back in Aberdeen with billets or whatever. Is there a process? Do you check in with players, or do you guys have a schedule for them where they need to be working out on these days or anything like that? Or they just kind of have carte blanche, they can do what they want, or how does that work?
No, yeah, I mean, we structure them so much, and it's really, when it comes down to it, it's really less than a week that they get by the time they travel and get home, right? Mm-hmm. So it's 8 days door to door kind of thing for them. So, we try to give them guidance on what we expect of them when they come back. So we'll get on the ice for the first time tomorrow as a team. So we have expectations. They know what the expectations are. And at some point, you got to give them a little bit of a break and a little bit of a rope and say, you have to be big boys about this as well, right?
Right.
Stay in shape, come back ready to play, because we come back in, we're playing St. Cloud again for 2 more games, and we need to start making up some ground here.
Well, that kind of transitions nicely into my next question, which was how does that first practice look? What do you jump right back in, or is it more about conditioning to kind of see where guys are at, or how does as a coaching staff, how do you approach that first practice?
Yeah, it's really getting them on their skates and getting them up and down the ice, and a bit more conditioning than it is on skill development or system play, right? Really got to get them back into team mode, and it's always meant to be it's a later night practice. So tomorrow's their travel day. Some of them are already back in town. Others are finishing their travel tomorrow. So it's a bit of a different skate at a different time. So the expectations on that one are really about us just getting our feet back under us, and then the next morning we get back into our normal work routine.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, and again, that transitions into the other question, which I had, was about focus, about getting them refocused. Is that a challenge? Do you foresee that being a challenge? Because they're all going to be like, I did this, or I did that, or I was, do you have I don't know, does that become difficult, I guess, to get them refocused back into Wings hockey and getting back to some of that discipline? Because, they are going to have stories to tell and memories to share, whatever it might be. There's still going to be a little bit of that mindset of the break,
There'll be some of that, but typically what we've seen is that night before, weekend before, that's the one that's hard to keep them focused, right? Because they're excited about going home. by the time they get back, they're typically energized, ready to get going. So they refocus, I think, typically a little bit faster. That's been the experience we've seen, and frankly, what we expect. But we'll be driving the bus and making sure that they get on focus and on task really quick here.
Sure. Okay. Well, very good. This will be somewhat of an abbreviated, Wings Weekly, since we don't have a player to join us. But, Coach, just looking at the standings quick, Austin right now with 35 points, top of the Central Division. Minot with 35. North Iowa Bulls 31, then the Wings with 30, St. Cloud with 29, and Bismarck with 20. I don't know that I can ever recall a time this early in the season where there's such a disparity in games played, where Minot's got 30, St. Cloud only 24. Of course, Austin with 29, North Iowa Bulls with 27, Wings with 28, and Bismarck also with 28. But St. Cloud's going to have a lot of work to do to get those games made up, it seems like, as the season goes along. But anyway, that's a look at standings. We're going to jump into some highlights of this portion of the season. Also, of course, we'll talk St. Cloud and what's upcoming to help us ring in the new year here in just a bit. We'll be back with our second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
We raise the bar on bar food with sandwiches, tenders, and burgers. There's more where this came from. To the greatest of all times.
Back with the second portion of Wings Weekly as we continue on. And normally we would have a player joining us, but again, with the players off on the Christmas break, Coach Jennings has been kind enough to continue on with me. Coach, in looking back, I always talk about New Year's Eve and kind of being a time to appreciate or look back at the year that was and what's to come. So I thought maybe we'd do that here too. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about some of the highlights that you and Coach Stepan as a staff and as a team as a whole, really, what you've seen. When you think back, what are some moments that have kind of stood out or stuck with you guys? Obviously the penalty kills continues to be the best in the league. Power play continues to improve. There's a lot of highlights overall, but is there a moment where you can go, wow, that was something that we've been working towards and we finally achieved it, or whatever?
Yeah, I think you go back and look at, for me, looking back at the power play over the last 6-8 weeks, there was that click that happened, and it's just been, regularly producing. And that was one of those moments where, we'd been working on some things and tinkering with the personnel and the different looks we wanted to do. And then all of a sudden we had the weekend where it was bang, bang. And then it's been on for that. So for me, that was a real strong highlight right there. And then, just watching the play of some of the guys. I mean, I think Ronan Walsh has come in and it has been an impact, and we expected him to come in and be an impact in the locker room, and he's done that. We want him to continue on with that. But now what we're also starting to see is some of the younger guys are finding their way as well. You look at Landry Schmuck, and offensively he's starting to contribute more. You look at Will Diamond physically, he is contributing more as he's playing. So we're starting to see a lot of these little things. It's not one giant lightning bolt that's happening. It's all the little cogs in the wheel that are starting to click in, and that's why we're pretty excited about the second half here.
Well, and this might be kind of a little too closely related to the highlights question, but were there any key moments, like a moment where you can look back? Because I think back to the sweeping Austin on the road and think this team just kind of went, wow, we can do this. I feel like that was kind of a key moment. Was there one for you?
I think when I look at Greg Oro's getting his first win, right? He'd been just battling for his first win. He'd had some opportunities earlier, and finally getting that first win under him, you could actually see him walk differently coming in, right? That was a good thing, and that really clicked for him. And then he brought us into Austin, and we had that good weekend there, and he backed us up on it too, right? So I think that's been one of the big things. And I even go back to the showcase. I think we weren't perfect at the showcase, but I think the team took the right amount of confidence out of that early in the year to go, okay, we can play, but also understanding we have a lot of work to do because we are a bit of a different dynamic than we've had here in the past.
I like that line. You could see him walk different. It's true. You could. The head, chin was up a little more, chest out a little more. So that's awesome. All right. As a coaching staff, maybe I shouldn't say as a staff so much, as a team, as a whole, again, what would you say is your short-term goal, something where, you want to check kind of thing, And what would you say is a long-term goal? A month from now, or the end of the season, whatever. Obviously, it's winning games, winning titles, those kinds of things. But are there some a little more tangible things that you can kind of look to that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are fairly technical in what we're trying to do, right, in terms of style of play that we've been trying to implement here for a bit. It's one of those secret recipe things. I don't want to get into. But there's a little bit of nuance that we're still working on. The guys are starting to pick up on. I mean, this group has certainly improved as a coachable group and as adaptive group for us here over the last, again, 6-8 weeks or so. Was really good coming into the break. For us, honestly, fixing our home performance is a huge tangible goal for us, right? Where we're at and win percentage here isn't acceptable, and we have to fix that. So that's our big short and long-term goal, frankly, is fixing how we play on the road and at home, and getting both to be more equivalent, and really by bringing our home performance equivalent to what we've been able to do on the road. Right, so we've been more successful on the road, and that's great. It's also hurtful, right? Because we need to be better here at home. We need to make this place a place where people don't enjoy coming in and playing.
Right. All right. Before we get into St. Cloud and the weekend that's coming up, I have a question that a little bit weird, perhaps. But what are you, as a head coach, most proud of this team, of this season? Here we are, coming up on game 29. And I know a lot of people might think, well, you just talked about the highlights and stuff. I feel like it's different. I think there could be something that's off the ice, whatever, that you as a coach are like, this is something that when you look back, that you feel pretty good about. Is there a moment like I said, maybe it's not even an event, but something that over the course of the first 4 months of this season that makes you most proud?
It's not. It's just a continuance, right? I think this group, they're very good off the ice. They're very good in the community. I'm really proud of that, right? Yeah. Like we put an opportunity up for, hey, there's a school that wants us to come in and read, or we'll go play floor hockey. We're not having to beat the door down to get kids to go. We're actually we fill it up pretty quick. So it's rare that we actually have to put a second effort on to find somebody to go out and help and step up in the community. And for me, that's a pride thing. I see the development on the ice, and I'm super proud of that, right? But I'm not proud enough, right? We haven't done enough yet. I see what's going on. And Zach and I talk about it all the time. You can see the development happening. We want it to develop faster. We want it to stick greater, but we can see that happening. But off the ice, what these guys do in the community, and the community is a big part of what we do here, right? The fans come in on Friday, Saturday night to the Odde, and we love it. But the bigger part is us paying back and going out and going to the ranch, out there out at D-Tom, or ringing the bell at Runnings, or whatever it is. The simple little things that we ask them to do in the community, they do with a smile and with energy, and they come back and they all say positive things like, hey, I learned something, I met somebody. There's all that little part. So they're not just out there in the community going through the motions. They're actually engaged with the community, and for me, that's a huge thing.
I debated on that question because I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but that's a fantastic answer, because I've actually noticed this. I've noticed the Facebook posts and stuff of all the different times that the guys are out in the community at elementary school playing stickball, reading to them, or whatever it might be. And honestly, the last year and a half with the COVID stuff has put a damper on that. It hasn't allowed the team to be as visible and out, in the community as much. But I know that's something that the Wings organization has always taken pride in. That really seems like it's, as you mentioned, it's been a big part of this team the first half, and I've seen a lot of the posts and a lot of the guys out doing stuff. So that's great, and it is definitely noticeable and noticed and appreciated by the community.
And what I actually see is the community starting to recognize it and ask for more involvement too, right? So it's a two-way street, and that's really great, because we want people reaching out and saying, hey, can you come help us? Because the answer is always going to be yes. There's certain hours of the day we can't, but we want to be out in the community helping out. And when you go to college, you're going to wind up spending some time in the community doing that. And so I think the more we train the guys and get them used to doing that, the better off we are. But it also helps them be better people in the long run as well.
Excellent. All right, well, we're ringing in the new year, coming up Friday night against the St. Cloud Norsemen once again. And now this is a little bit different when you have 4 games back-to-back with the same team. This time there's a pretty substantial break in between the two of them. So I wouldn't expect things to be all that heated, although Saturday night things did end a little bit.
I think people may come back with Christmas card lists.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot of goodwill towards men on the ice at the end of that game. But anyway, what as a team, what do you have to do? What do you have to do to beat the Norsemen? Pull some points out. But then again, at home, bringing in the New Year's, what do you see as some keys?
Yeah, I mean, I thought big difference between Friday and Saturday is I thought our puck management on Saturday just wasn't great. We weren't engaged on that enough and hard enough on it, so that we got to get back more to like what we did on Friday. I think for us getting started offensively early is an important part. We've seen that time and time again. When we're on the sheet early, it changes the dynamic of the game, right? So it takes us from chasing the game to actually being chased, which is always the best spot to be in, right? So I think for us, it's getting out and again, setting the tempo in our building physically and with speed and with how we play offensively. I think that's going to be an important part. And, I think Dom gave us the opportunity to win 2 games on the weekend, and we came back with 1. And I think we need to go back in going, okay, we can get that same level of goaltending and maybe even better, and we need to be ready to go and take both games.
Excellent. Well, that's always a fun game for the crowd. I know everybody kind of gets into that and gets excited for that New Year's game. So looking forward to that. Coach, I've got a spiel I'm going to read here, so if you hang with me just for a moment here, but I do appreciate you coming on. I don't have really a whole lot else for you. But again, we'll be saying goodbye to 2021 and hello to 2022 this weekend at the Odde Ice Center. Doors open at 5:30 on Friday night against the St. Cloud Norsemen, and the puck hits the ice at 7:15. $15 bar stools, seats inside the Automax Party Deck are available for Friday's game. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 to snag your seat. We'll be back at the Odde on Saturday, January 1st to face the Norsemen again. Doors open at 5:30 and puck drops at 7:15. We welcome My Place Hotels as the game's corporate sponsor inside the Automax Party Deck. And stick around after the game and skate with the Wings. Get your tickets ahead of the weekend's games online at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or at the door on game nights. You can also get $10 general admission tickets at any Sea Express location in Aberdeen with additional purchase. And corporate night sponsorships are still available in 2022. Call Aaron at 380-5852 once again to see what's open. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, including upcoming game information, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now on TikTok as the official Aberdeen Wings. Once again, head coach Steve Jennings, thanks so much for coming on with me. And
are you active on TikTok? Are you the one doing the videos?
No, that would be Megan. I think anyway. No, I'm not active on the Ticker Talk, the clock app as they call it. But again, thanks so much for coming on, and best of luck against St. Cloud.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, that'll do it for this week's Wings Weekly.